A new poll from the YouGov Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation found that 7 in 10 American millennials would vote for a socialist. The poll also found that 50% of millennials and 51% of Generation Z have a somewhat or very unfavorable view of capitalism. So what does their future hold as these generations reach for a hell on earth filled with empty grocery store shelves?
So what the Congresswoman and I believe everybody in this room believe, is that the time is now to change our national priorities.
One thing this moronic love affair with totalitarianism will inevitably foist upon these spoiled anti-American generations is the harvesting of their own organs. They will be chosen based on their beliefs, which will no longer be protected under totalitarianism. Similar to the plight of the peace-loving Buddhist Falun Gong in China, who are having their organs removed while they're alive because they won't accept atheism. The China Organ Harvest Research Center data from 2007 reveals that hospitals charged more than $65,000 for a kidney, $130,000 for a liver, and more than $150,000 for a lung or a heart. Researchers insist the pseudo-voluntary organ donation system in Asia has a turnover of 60,000 to 100,000 transplants annually. The practice is alleged to have started in the 1990s. It was initially targeted to forcibly remove the organs of prisoners on death row. China later claimed that death row prisoners consented to donate their organs to the state to redeem themselves for the crimes they had committed against the state, a practice China claimed to have stopped in January 2015.
Dr. Huang Jiefu has been facing heavy criticism in Australia. To his supporters, he's a pioneering liver transplant surgeon. To his detractors, he was responsible for running China's organ transplant system for more than a decade, a system that's relied almost exclusively on organs taken from executed prisoners. In a rare press briefing, Dr. Huang spoke to a small group of journalists to respond to his critics, saying Chinese prisoners must agree to have their organs harvested before they die.
Consent is not presumed consent. Consent, written consent.
The explosion of organ transplant activities in China from 2000, together with reports of thousands of transplant tourists going to China to purchase organs, suggests a larger supply of organs than could be sourced from executed criminals alone, according to the tribunal. The scales of the Chinese transplant industry, together with other evidence, points to the possibility that China is involved in forced organ harvesting and selling for-profit organs from prisoners of conscience.
Falun Gong is a form of Chinese meditation and exercise with a spiritual underpinning. Since 1999, the Chinese government has cracked down on Falun Gong, charging it with being an unregistered religion and cult that aims to subvert the state.
The 7-person China Tribunal panel, which was initiated by the International Coalition to End Transplant Abuse in China, delivered its final findings in June.
For over a decade, the People's Republic of China has stood publicly accused of acts of cruelty and wickedness that match the cruelty and wickedness of medieval torturers and executioners.
It stated, with certainty, that in China, forced organ harvesting from prisoners of conscience has been practiced for a substantial period of time.
So maybe that poll should be adjusted. Instead, we should just cut to the chase and say that 7 out of 10 American millennials will likely have their organs harvested while they're alive.
On average, 22 people die every day in the United States waiting for a transplant. The median wait time for a lung here is 4 months, a heart almost a year, and a kidney 2 years. Transplant tourists, understandably, have been drawn to other countries by promises of little to no wait.
But look on the bright side. U.S. tourism will skyrocket as the world healthcare system cashes in capitalist style to acquire one of those freshly harvested organs from future American generations. John Bowne reporting.